Hello, my gentlemen. So glad to have you here. Wow, you guys have already filled up the chat box. Let's get these AirPod Pros working. Did that do it? Nope, it didn't do it. Sometimes if I take them out and put them back in, it does a trick. Yes? No? Sorry for the technical difficulties. These things, yes. I want you to connect. Yes, connect. Welcome, guys. I'm so glad to have you here. You guys have... Someone said, "Oh my God, you are so luscious tonight." You didn't even see me when you said that, darling. Thank you so much for being here. Jason from Texas is here. Oh, apparently it's St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I've got the green everywhere. I'm just not wearing it. Very, very glad to have you here. I will get right into your questions. So yeah, I do these. If you're new here, my name is Arica Angelo, and I'm a dating and relationship expert. I've been doing this for 12 years, long time. This is my heart. This is my purpose. This is my passion. It really is in my heart. This is for people who are new here. It's really in my heart for people to know that they're loved. And my mission is to help facilitate removing all boundaries, all things that oppress one's heart, and to remove those so that men can connect with love, that they can be loved for themselves first and foremost, but also to experience that love with a woman. I believe that is a God-given right that every person is born with, to be loved, to be in a loving relationship. It breaks my heart when I work with men who have either tons of trauma or failed relationships or feel like a failure. And those feelings of inadequacy keep them from experiencing the joy, the pleasure, the union, the being championed by the love of their life. To see men not have that experience and instead to be in a storm of insecurity and disbelief and hopelessness and despondency and indifference, that really breaks my heart. And it's why I wake up every day and do what I do, is to see men, to see you restored to love, to remove anything that prevents you from experiencing that love, so that you can enjoy love to its fullest capacity. That's my heart. This is why I do what I do. It's why I've been doing it for 12 years. There are a lot of coaches out there, but for me, this is what I will do for the rest of my life. It's a part of my heart, and it will always be a part of my heart. And so it really is an honor to be able to speak into your hearts. It's an honor to be able to serve you men. It's not something that I take lightly. I feel very gifted and blessed that I get to devote my life to serving your heart. So thank you for being here. I really, really, really appreciate it. And if you are new here, make sure that you subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because sometimes I do random live videos, and it's just a way for me to connect with my audience. And before I want to answer your questions, I do want to connect with you guys on a heart level. I sent out an email. I don't know if you guys are on my email list. If you get my emails, let me know. So I sent out an email, and it really upset me, and it broke my heart, the response that I got back. And I shared a story with a friend of mine. And my friend had basically got injured. And basically I said to my friend, "Why didn't you let me know that you were injured?" And they said, "Because people don't give a shit about these kind of things." And I said, oh my gosh, you're really missing out. And I said, my heart as a woman is to nurture, is to love, is to make sure that the people in my life are okay. That's in my heart. And so I shared this story in one of my emails, and I asked the men who received my emails this question. I'm going to put my glasses on, and I need to clean these puppies. It says, I asked them this. I said, do you keep things inside because in the back of your mind you think no one really cares anyway? And I said, if so, send me a reply back with yes or no. And I said, I'm really curious if this is true. I said, I'm really curious. And if this is true, then I'm really concerned. And I would say that 90 to 95% of the males that responded to my question said yes. And so many men opened up to me and they said, I have this physical problem, I have that problem. My wife doesn't care. My children don't care. One man said he had to have surgery and he was just going to take himself. He wasn't even going to let his children know because he ultimately believes that that people just don't care. So what's the point of telling people? And that really broke my heart to read that's what men feel on the inside. And so it's really important for me to connect with you guys and know like what you're experiencing, where you are, where you're going through, because just to give you unsolicited advice, that doesn't actually speak to your heart, that doesn't actually bring solutions and answers to the big question marks in your heart, doesn't do any of us good. So yeah, I'm just curious if you guys, I do need to create a pop-up for you guys to join my emails. Right now, there is no way for you to join my emails, which I need to change. And so, but I'm just curious, do you guys keep, and when I do create a way for you to join my list again, I'll be sure to announce it on my live video. But right now there's no way to join it. But when there is, I will announce it here. But I'm just curious, do you guys feel this way? Do you feel like people just don't care, and so therefore you you don't tell anyone what's going on? If that's you, just say yes, I feel that way. Just tell me in the chat box, because I'm very curious, very curious. So let me get to your questions. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I see a lot of that in here. That's cool. Thank you for your advice. I am an alpha turning into a beta. The man is dying, which I'm okay with 50-50. But when the oppressed rise, they overcompensate. Yeah, it's a balance, right? It's a balance. It's a balance. Brian, hello, my darling. Oh, I'm glad you could make it, babe. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Yeah, this morning I'm just a little bit somber, just reading that email, which if you're on my email list, I'll be sure to respond to that because, yeah, kind of like yesterday, I just kind of had to soak it in and just sit with it and digest it and process it and feel it. And it was not a fun, easy thing to feel, but it's real. Daniel has a question. He says, how will you, that woman that you're with is not, it just went away. I guess you just retracted your message, Daniel. Okay, it's gone. Next question. Oh, thank you, Damani. He says, I always look luscious. Thank you. You guys are loving my natural look this morning. Thank you. Anthony is saying that if he had a chance of dating me, trust me, he'd be all over me like a cheap suit. I've never heard that expression. Hello, guys. Thank you for all of this. This is quite funny. Yup, 34 says, I swear you must have been a boy in your past life. You know what? I don't know if I believe in that stuff, but it wouldn't surprise me, honestly. It really wouldn't surprise me. Okay, here's a question. Sometimes I have to just read through and find where the questions are. I want to know, why do some dudes attract women who has wasted their time? That's a very complex question. It is. A lot of times we're not in a line. I'm going to give you a very deep answer to this. I'm not going to give you some like bullshit typical dating coach answer. I'm going to just shoot you like straight. Sometimes we are so disconnected from ourselves. We are so out of alignment with who we are. We're not in integrity with who we are. We choose people and we know on the inside, this person's not right for me. This person's going to play games for me. But because we're so desperate, because we're so needy, because we want love so bad, we'll take love in any form and we'll continue to pursue people that are not right for us because we just want to be loved. We just want to be held. And I think many of us do this at one point or another in our lifetime. I know I have done that. And so it becomes a very painful lesson. And it's not until a person has gone through that lesson so many times until they finally wake up and they go, this is not paying off. This is not working for me to continue to be in relationships with people who are wasting my time. Because you can tell if a person is going to waste your time with how they're showing up. If they're not responding to your messages, if they're blowing you off, if they're lying to you, like all of these things show you that this person is not a person of integrity. And if they're not in integrity with their actions, then they're not going to be in integrity in the relationship. And so therefore it is a waste of your time. But most of the time we don't want to face those answers because we're so desperate and needy to have love on the inside that we will pursue these wasteful relationships. And so I always tell people, like, come back to yourself, get really clear about yourself and forgive yourself. That's the biggest thing. Forgive yourself for wasting your time pursuing that person when you already knew the answer. You knew from the beginning that this person wasn't right. You just wanted it to be right. And because you wanted it to be right, you chose to waste your own time, which is really what it boils down to. Tyler says he's been feeling some anxiety. Maybe I just send love to your heart. I would encourage you to do some box breathing, some grounding, walking on the grass. And for me, I always recommend magnesium. Magnesium is very helpful with anxiety. Colin from South Africa. Wow, what a pleasure. What a pleasure to be serving you in South Africa. I would love to go to South Africa. I was just on a trip with my friends over the weekend. You guys should watch my Instagram videos, the stories. It's the little circles at the top of Instagram if you have the app. Because I just posted a trip that I was on with my friends, and they said, like, if the borders were open everywhere, they were like, some of them would live half of their time in South Africa and Cape Cod. And I'm like, I must get out there. Thank you, Gary. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I don't even know, like, is it Patrick's Day or did I miss it yesterday? I have no idea. Johnny says, would love some one-on-one. How do we do that? Babe, you can apply to work with me in terms of a coaching facility. I don't do free conversations because I'm very comfortable with the 400 free videos I have on YouTube and the free live Q&A. So I don't do free calls, but I do interviews to see if you can be a potential candidate for me to work with. So if that's interesting to you, then I put a link there in the chat box. So Paulo says, yes, he feels that way. He feels like no one cares. So what's the point of opening up? Johnny says he does not keep that in. Ken says, yes, he feels that way. So yeah, this is a common theme amongst men, which then becomes a bigger problem with women. And I won't go into that because I just want to hold space for you men. I don't want to bring women into it. I just want to hold space for you and just say, yeah, that's a lonely place to be. And this guy, wow, just said, I've never seen you here before, but your name is Yaboi J. And he says, yeah, literally nobody gives a shit about how men feel. Shane says, I haven't cried in 2 years. I don't know how. I know I have a lot packed inside. See, this stuff breaks my heart because, like, this is the mission. This is the work that I do. This is the stuff that I do in my emotional warrior program. That's why I'm always pushing it in every YouTube live video, because it's a program that every man can do, and it will literally help set you free. It'll set your heart free. It'll set your emotions free. It'll help give you a voice to express yourself. It'll help you connect with women from the heart, which is what women really crave. And that's what keeps a woman there, is a man who has the ability to connect from the heart. But if you're not able and willing to give that to yourself, you can't give it to a woman. And so this is why every week I'm like, do the emotional warrior journey with me. Do the emotional warrior journey with me, because this is all about embracing your heart, living from your heart, removing the things from the past, the things that you're packing down, removing those so that you can actually feel love and not just the pressure that you carry on the inside. Anthony says it depends on how he's feeling and what circumstance he's in. That's fair. Thank you. Someone says, I love your hair. All right. Oh, Brian just landed in LA. Brian, send LA a big kiss for me. A girlfriend just sent a video of Beverly Hills to me, and it just broke my heart because Beverly Hills is one of my favorite places in LA. That and Santa Monica and Malibu. And it just made me so sad to see it like empty and just the weird mask upon mask that people were wearing. It's sad. It just breaks my heart. But please give it a kiss. I love Los Angeles. It was a city that was very good to me. So Cayman says, yeah, I just write about it instead of telling anyone until my friend's family who has passed away, her family had been supportive towards me. I'm glad you're getting support. It's important to get support. Dallas Wilson says, happy St. Patrick's Day, Arica, and Women's History Month. Thank you. You're phenomenal for your advice and care. I think thank you for that. I love that you guys resonate with my advice, but the most important thing that I hope that you guys can feel from me is that you feel my heart and that you feel that I really do care, because I think that's the most important thing. It's not enough for someone just to give you advice, but do they really care about you? Do they care about your heart? Do they care about your journey? You're hot with your cheetah print glasses and nails going on. Skin is gorgeous too. Thank you. Yeah, I wore a different piece of lingerie. I always wear the black one. To be really honest with you, last night I was sending out my laundry and I went, oh shit, it hadn't been washed because I was out of town. So now I'm wearing different lingerie. It's quite funny. That's a great line. Does anyone have a map? I keep getting lost in her eyes. I love that. That was really good. John Mia says, I would admit I do feel lonely sometimes. Yeah, I think a lot of men feel lonely. And so I think that men desperately need community. So this is why I keep pushing the Emotional Warrior Program, because inside there's a Facebook group with a community that I'm actively in every day. And yeah, I would really love to support you guys in that. Okay, here's a good question. When there's not a good match for you, or you can't find anyone that you can connect with, how do you deal with loneliness and keeping your spirits up? Oh, that's a great question, Stephen. That is a beautiful question. Thank you so much for taking the time to put this in the chat box and ask this, because it's a wonderful question. When you're in that lull, let's just call it a lull, because that's what it feels like. When you're not meeting someone and you're not meeting people that you can connect with, and you start feeling loneliness, because, we're made for connection. I'll keep saying we're biologically wired for connection. I find that the best way to keep my spirits up are a plethora of things. It's not just a one size fits all. It's an active engagement of staying intimate and connected to myself. And the way that I personally do that, the way I encourage my clients to do it, is one, do the things that you love. I love singing. I love being in nature. I will go to the beach, catching sunsets, surrounding yourself with friends who actually really lift your spirits up. You're not meant to do this alone. So make sure that you're surrounding yourself, that you're being diligent and pursuing friendships, because when you're in this lull, you actually want people to pursue you, but sometimes you have to go and actively pursue your friends. There are many times I'll message 3 or 4 or 5 friends. Hey, what are you doing? I want to see you, and sometimes they say I can't. Okay, then I find the next friend. But being an active participant of enjoying yourself. So whether it's returning to hobbies and making them a priority, Um, for me, I find loving myself through masturbation is really important. Like, that's how I connect back to myself. It's how I sensually connect back to myself. It's how I level myself. Just did it this morning. It's really important to do, to care for you. I always say, like, a lot of times we go into relationships, or the hopes of going into a relationship, hoping that someone can give something to us. But most of the time when I ask my clients, but are you giving that to yourself? What do you want from a woman? I want respect. Do you respect yourself? Do you respect the effort that you put into making your life what it is? I want a woman to touch me. When's the last time you've just given yourself a big hug? When's the last time you've patted yourself on the back and said, okay, great, man, you kicked ass in that? When's the last time you looked in the mirror and said, look, you're doing an awesome job. You're a badass. Like, the things that we're hoping to get in a relationship, the majority of those things we can do now. We're craving touch, pleasuring yourself, getting a massage. Like, these things, these are active things that we can do to keep our spirits up and keep them high. Exercising, looking good, like getting dressed up, like anything that you can do. Make sure that you know what makes you happy, be acquainted with yourself, understand what makes you happy, and then actively do it. And it's not just a one-time event. This is something that you do on a consistent basis, Stephen. So I hope that my answer helped you out. Maiko says, I've loved women even to madness, but I have always loved liberty better. Well, here's the beautiful answer to that, Mike, is you can have both. And let's see, where are we at now?